Hello, everyone. Here I am once again, your professional guide, your well wisher. Yes, Abhishek Haridas Saha, the NFED awardee, respectable executive mentor, CEO CXO coach, leadership coach, empowerment coach, philosopher, and of course, a responsible social reformer as well. So, are we ready for the journey? Excellent. Excellent. Well, today I'm going to share my new, innovative, and effective strategies during coronavirus. Well, today's topic is effective ways to manage your team while social distancing. Effective ways to manage your team while social distancing. Well, we are already aware of what we are going through, right? Yes, absolutely. The COVID 19 virus has disrupted and rearranged the workplace with breathtaking speed. Uh, you know what? In the span of week, organizations across every sector have sent millions of employees home to work remotely without working or without warning. Yes, absolutely right. Without warning, and in many cases, without preparation of any kind, managers have been thrust into the position of leading virtual teams, many for the first time. Well, it's really, really challenging enough to manage yourself in quarantine without face to face human interaction and the structure of a typical workday, right? Okay, so now add to that um, the task of managing a team under those conditions, especially when you have never done it before. It's really daunting, right? All of you will agree with this, right? Absolutely. So, you know what? Pressurized conditions, heightened uncertainty, and an overall sense of dislocation make it even more difficult. Under quarantine, every aspect of the manager's role is magnified and complicated. Believe me, absolutely complicated. You all need to reset expectations, your expectations for how work gets done, and adapt your management style to your new context. Well, everyone, to help managers and decision makers or everyone else who are new to this, or even experienced managers who need additional guidance in these trying times, here are my effective recommendations for supporting continued learning and the emotional well-being of your employees. So I'm going to first um, share with you a few points, and then I will be going in depth. Okay, so strategy number one: reset your expectations. Yes, you heard me right. Please reset your expectations. Strategy number two: stay in regular touch. I say it again: stay in regular touch. Strategy number three: support continued learning but keep it short. Support continued learning but keep it short. Number four: assign buddies and peer coaches to add a layer of mutual support. Assign buddies and peer coaches to add a layer of mutual support. 5. Interpret tone and voice as proxies for face to face feedback. Interpret tone and voice as proxies for face to face feedback. 6. Model optimism and drain the team of fear. Model optimism and drain the team of fear. Strategy 7. Update even if there is no update. Yes, update even if there is no update. Okay, the last one. 8. Continually gauge stress and engagement levels. Yes, absolutely. Please continually gauge or stress and engagement levels. So let's move on to all those from the beginning, and I'm going to share all these techniques and strategies in much more elaborative manner. So the first one, please reset your expectations. So here I mean to say, reset expectations for how work gets done. I'll say it again once again. Reset expectations for how work gets done. Okay. Most teams are socialized and accustomed to synchronous work and standardization. I hope you would agree with me, all of you. Most teams are socialized and accustomed to synchronous work and standardization, right? Okay. They work together, located in the same office, under the same working conditions, with the same work schedule. You know what? In a quarantined environment, managers must help their teams shift immediately to a synchronous work and personalization. I'll say it once again for all of you. In a quarantined environment, managers must help their teams shift immediately to a synchronous work and personalization. Well, you all need to reset your expectations for how work gets done, letting go of when and how tasks are accomplished. Letting go of when and how tasks are accomplished. Allowing team members to accomplish their responsibilities on their own terms. This means focusing on results and offering more flexibility. Yes, you heard me right. This means focusing on results and offering more flexibility. Well, that was point number 1. Now I'm going to shift to the next one. It's strategy number 2. Stay in regular touch. Stay in regular touch. Well, we all are aware of one thing, that sociometric research proves that shorter communication cycle times are more effective in building and sustaining morale and engagement. Use instant messaging to stay in regular contact. Don't let an employee go half a day without checking in. You might want to hold a huddle each day, ideally by video. Perhaps, rotating responsibility for who leads it. Hope so. Set the expectation that everyone be present and not distracted. Model what it means to show up as a virtual team player. Okay, so let's move on to strategy number 3. Support continued learning but keep it short. Support continued learning, but keep it short. Okay, so I'm going to say learning does not have to stop in this new environment, but it may be more practical to use micro learning. Focus on sharing short lessons on a single topic in a 5 to 10 minute segment. Well, this might cover a specific tool, behavior, or skill. Rotate, yes, rotate the delivery of these lessons among team members and allow them to identify their own topics for training. You might ask a different team member to debrief the lesson and lead a short discussion about the application, relevance, and implications of what everyone learned. This point was really, really effective one. And I'm sure that you all will agree with this. Okay, so let's move on to the next strategy. Assign buddies and peer coaches to add a layer of mutual support. Assign buddies and peer coaches to add a layer of mutual support. Okay, so what I mean to say, um, attending to every team members needs, what attending to every team member's needs will quickly exhaust the capacity of most managers. To distribute that responsibility, organize team members into panes with each individual assigned as a buddy and peer coach to their assigned colleague. Well, this shared leadership model creates a second layer of mutual support and guards against emotional isolation. Next, what you could do is ask the buddies to check in daily and access overall engagement. I'll say it once again. Ask the buddies to check in daily and assess overall engagement and well-being. Well, if people haven't filled this role before, it can be helpful to give them some guidance, isn't it? Yes, if people haven't filled this role before, then it can be helpful to give them some guidance, right? Okay. So let's move on to the next strategy. Interpret tone and voice as proxies for face-to-face feedback. I'll say it once again. Interpret tone and voice as proxies for face-to-face feedback. What I mean to say, it's really, really harder to read the emotional cues of your people when you are not in the same room. Instead of relying on nonverbal data and body language, now you must rely on proxy indicators such as text, voice, and infrequent video communications. Pay close attention to patterns in the tone of written communication. I'm going to say the rate, volumes, the pitch, and inflection of voice communication, and any physical gestures in video communication. If you know your people well, changes in these patterns will help you identify early that a team member may need some additional support. And I'm sure you all will agree with this strategy. Okay, so let's move on to the Next strategy: model optimism and drain the team of fear. I'll say it once again: model optimism and drain the team of fear. You know what? Optimism is really contagious. Yes, you heard me right. Optimism is truly contagious. Leaders who demonstrate hopefulness and confidence in the future are better able to help their team members find meaning and purpose in work, especially under stressful conditions. I'll say it once again for you. Leaders who demonstrate hopefulness and confidence in the future are better able to help their team members find meaning and purpose in work, especially under stressful conditions. And please do not forget to use humor as a relief valve. Okay, remember that fear freezes initiative, ties up creativity, and yells compliance instead of commitment. Finally, consider that constraints are often the enabling factor that sparks innovation, right? Absolutely right. Consider that constraints are often the enabling factor that sparks innovation. Invite your team to use the quarantine conditions as a stimulus for new ideas. Yes, you can do it. All of you. I'm sure you can do this. Invite your team to use the quarantine conditions as a stimulus for new ideas. Okay, so let's move on to the next strategy. Update even if there is no update. Please update if there is no update. Well, I'm going to say uncertainty fuels anxiety. We all know this, right? We all know this. Uncertainty fuels anxiety. The more you communicate and share, the less chance there is to develop an information vacuum within your team. Communicate regularly. Yes. Why can't you do this? Definitely you can do this. Communicate regularly, even if you don't have new information to share. Maintaining transparency through a crisis like this, like what we are going through right now, with frequent updates is the ultimate expression of good faith, empathy, and genuine concern for your team. Believe me. Believe me, guys. Okay, so now let's move on to the last one. Okay, so my last strategy would be continually or consistently gauge your stress and engagement levels. Consistently gauge your stress and engagement levels. Make it crystal clear to your team members. Yeah, I'm going to say, make it crystal clear to your team members that your chief concern is their well-being. Take time to monitor their engagement by periodically asking each team member two quick questions, right? What you could do this over here is take time to monitor their engagement by periodically asking each team member two quick questions or three quick questions or four quick questions. It's your choice. But first, on a 0 to 10 scale, rate the level of stress you currently feel. Second, using that same skill, rate your level of overall engagement. Your intuitive or impressionistic sense of the individual may be wrong. So it helps to get quantitative responses. Well, I'm going to say it once again. The point number 2, using that same scale, rate your level of overall engagement. Your intuitive or impressionistic sense of the individual may be wrong, so it helps to get quantitative responses. Well, everyone, we all are aware. We definitely know one thing. All of us, we know one thing very well. Humans are hypersocial creatures who long to belong. And psychological safety, where your team members feel included, safe to learn, safe to contribute, and safe to what? Challenge the status quo. All without fear of being embarrassed, marginalized, or punished in some way is the paramount, even under conditions of quarantine. When you create and sustain these conditions, you allow them to continue to perform and contribute. And perhaps, most importantly, at a time like this, the way we are going through in coronavirus crisis, you acknowledge their humanity as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a patient listener, and I'm really thankful and grateful to each and every clients, listeners, and well-wishers and people, leaders, for asking lots of questions and showing your high level of enthusiasm. And I'm really grateful and thankful to the Almighty Lord, the divine powers, universal powers, the entire universe, the cosmic power, for extending their support, their blessings, their holy blessings, and supporting me so much. Thank you very much. Stay blessed and stay healthy. Bye bye. See you once again in the next video.